Hi, brothers and sisters. Father Stephen here. I've been reflecting the last few weeks on the amount of anger we seem to see in our society these days, whether it be anger about racial injustice, about who's wearing masks and who isn't, about any number of political issues that are out there, especially as we're going into the election season. And it's really interesting to see how people respond in anger because so many people are reacting well and seeking honest reform and going about, peaceful protests, but other people are taking the anger to extremes. And we see this especially in, I think, our cancel culture that's going on and is so popular these days, where so many people say, if you don't agree with me and what I believe in, I'm going to push you out of my life. I think you shouldn't even have a voice in this conversation. And that to me seems very uncharitable because it stops treating the person as another person who has their own experience, their own views, and starts treating them as someone who is supposed to serve my will, when in fact we're all supposed to serve God's will. And that's ultimately, I think, the troublesome part in a lot of the anger that's going on. And so it's important for us when we do get angry about things, we take a look at what's really causing the anger and how we're reacting to it. I think a lot of times we react in anger out of fear. Fear for ourselves, fear for others, and often fear tends to lead us down the wrong path when it comes to anger. There was this wonderful quote from Star Wars where Yoda said something very wise. He's warned young Anakin saying, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to the dark side. And so much of our anger in the public sphere these days, especially in the media, tends to lead toward hatred for so many people. And we know that when it escalates to that level, we're moving away from the gospel. We're moving away from God's love. And so it's important for us when we fall into that anger that results from fear to recognize what that fear really is and to bring it to the Lord as we bring all our fears to the Lord and to ask Him to guide us in what we're doing with that anger. We recognize that anger can also come from a pure sense of charity, of love for another person, especially when we see people wronged. And we know that that anger is really righteous anger. But that anger itself can still go to extremes. And so we always have to react to anger with love, because that's what God does. And in fact, that's what Jesus did when He was on earth. He was angry many times, and we see Him lash out verbally at the Pharisees and the scribes, and we even see Him lash out physically when He cleanses the temple of the money changers. But in all that, He did it with love, seeking the good of everybody involved. He didn't just drive out the money changers because He wanted them out of His life, but He wanted them to reform their lives, to reconsider what was most important for them. Rather than just making a quick buck, He wanted them to really honor the temple and what it was meant for, connection with God. And so it's important for us, as we see so much anger in our lives, to look at what's causing that anger and to invite the Lord to be with us in that anger and how we respond to it, seeking the good for ourselves, for others, and especially those we're angry with. Because when we consider that love first, then we're really living the life of Christ in our own lives. We're really living in communion with God. So may God be with all of us, all of you, as you encounter these situations that cause you anger, that God may guide you into His love, that all we may do may be in love. God bless you.